Hi, welcome back to Aunt Sandy's Corner. Last time we talked about the words that we say to others and how important it is to pause before reacting. Today I want to talk about the other side of that. What happens when people speak to us? When they use mean words, words in anger, sometimes cruel, sometimes accusatory, that are very mean, not nice to us at all. So, because words don't just disappear, they land somewhere. And then our hearts can be a little bit broken or a little bit wounded. So, sometimes they stay in our hearts longer than they need to. And that is what we need to talk about today. How can we stop them from staying in our hearts? We will oftentimes replay conversations over and over. I have heard that women do that a lot more often than men. Not that men don't do it, but we just replay them and we practice conversations, and that replaying the conversations that were mean or cruel sometimes, that is not healthy. We have to make a conscious decision about words that we will not let in our hearts live in there. We can't give them free rent like that. So sometimes they stay in our hearts for years. um, I know that there's one thing that somebody told me many many years ago that I've never forgotten, and I don't like that. I wish I could just let that go. Some uh something else somebody told me not that long ago that stays in my heart. We need to try to let things go, especially if they're not true. Isn't that something? How even if words are not true, they can still hurt. So even when we look strong on the outside, which I think looking strong on the outside can give people the wrong impression. They think that they can say anything to us and it's not going to hurt us. But that isn't true. That isn't true. I don't like to show a lot of vulnerability, but we're all vulnerable, you know, even if we don't look it. The book of Proverbs 12:18 says, "Reckless words pierce like a sword." Reckless words pierce like a sword. Whenever I was reading that, it reminded me of a song from Cher that I sing a lot. I love Cher songs. I don't love Cher, but I do love her songs. And in her song, it's "If I Could Turn Back Time." She says, "Words are like weapons, they wound sometimes." In that song, there's a lot of regret to the words that she says. Um, but yeah, it made me think of that. And I would sing it to you, but I don't think everybody would enjoy that. So I'll stay focused. So, why do some words affect us so deeply? Well, sometimes they touch old wounds that um, come back to life whenever somebody says something so mean, or it confirms insecurities that maybe we're thinking about, and then we're told things, and maybe that's why it hurts us so much. Or it awakens something that is already tender, something that we may have heard before, been told before. We thought we let it go, we thought it was forgotten, and then it reawakens something. So for different reasons, things will affect you, things will hurt you. Now, the old memory that I have of words that were told to me that were pretty mean, I remember not that long ago, that same person again said something that really kind of made a connection with those old words. And whenever they did that, that did sort of bring that back to life, you know? Um, Even though I felt it was unfair, it was unjust, it still was hurtful, maybe because of how unfair it was. But we have to learn to let things go. We have to learn how to not let things live in our heart. We through faith and prayer, we have to let things go. So whenever somebody says something and it reawakens something tender, something uh, painful from before, maybe those are things that we need to heal from, right? And also, sometimes things hurt us because maybe they're true. Maybe they're weaknesses, right? They're weaknesses that cause maybe us to be more sensitive. So if it is something that is true, then that is something that we should work on. If it is true and it is something we should work on, if it is true and it is actually our strength, then don't change the strength. But if it is true and it is something that God would like for us to improve on, that is key. What does God want us to do with that? Does God want us to stay solid on it and it's a good thing? Or does God want us to change it? So we need prayer. We need prayer to help us handle it. If it's something we need to change, we change it. If it is something that is unjust or unfair, we need to let it go. And only God can help us do that. Only God can help us do that. Not every word spoken to us is going to be the truth, right? I know that the most recent one that somebody said that was very in anger to me, I know it isn't true. And what hurts about what that person said is not that it really affected, it didn't, it wasn't a sensitivity for me. The reason that it hurt me is because I felt that this person that said something to me should have loved me too much to say that, should have loved me enough to not try to hurt me. I felt this person was trying to hurt me. And that is disappointing. Sorry about that. That is disappointing and that can be heartbreaking. So, that is another reason that it can hurt. And maybe for those kinds of instances, especially if it's from somebody that you love and that should love you or does love you, but acted in a way that was not good, good communication is important. So, a way to not let it sit in your heart is having good communication so that that can fade, right? That can go away. Y'all can clear it up, hopefully. So, remember, just because I say it, it doesn't make it true. And a lot of times, and this is one of the things, I do get upset that somebody that I think loves me would say something so mean. It also makes me sad that maybe they're in a very bad place. If they were in such a bad place that they can say something so mean, that means they're probably quite troubled. And that makes me sad for them. So if we're sad for them because they are so troubled that they would say something, there needs to be some way that we communicate with them in the godly way that God wants us to and try to let them express themselves, give them space to communicate, to maybe get over some frustration so that we can help them, is what I'm saying, so that we can try to help them. Because that meanness and anger, maybe it is something that they regret and they don't know how to say that they regret it. They don't know how to get past it so that you can heal too. Maybe you need to be the leader, the the better communicator. There are a few strategies that I would like to go over with you. One is to pause before accepting any words. Okay, you don't have to accept any words immediately. You just give yourself some time, think about it, and then you decide, is it true? Do I need to grow from it? If it isn't true, you have to let it go. You have to make the conscious decision, pray about it, and let it go. That is just what we have to do. But I do suggest growth. Growth. We should always have a growth mindset. In case you guys do not know, I don't guess I've said I'm a teacher. So I always will have a growth mindset. Anytime you can learn, learn. Anytime you can grow, grow. Okay, so, but if it isn't true, pray about it. Pray about it, let it go. Another strategy, decide what you will allow to stay in your heart, which is very similar to the first one. In the book of Proverbs 4:23, it says, above all else, guard your heart. That means being wise about what you will allow to take root inside of you. You can hear words without holding on to them. I wish I would have really thought more about this with that very, very old um, thing that hurt me and let it go at the time. I've been carrying that for years, for many, many years. We can't let that happen. If it's true, we need to grow from it. If it's not true, we have to learn to let it go. Another strategy, replace hurtful words with truth. If something hurtful stays in your mind, remind yourself of what is true. Yes, definitely. So, this may include, of course, prayer. We need to pray. We need to pray about it. We need to read scripture, read the Bible. Remind yourself of your identity in God. Oh my God, that is the most beautiful thing. What are we with God? He loves us. He would do anything for us. He did do the ultimate for us. Best thing in the world. And remember who you know yourself to be, especially if you try your best to be faithful to God and follow God. There is no doubt whenever somebody says something so ugly or mean or cruel to you, have confidence in who you are because you are working on yourself, right? And if you're not working on yourself, work on yourself. Pray about it. Go to church. Go to church. Read the Bible. If you're Catholic, say the rosary. I really need to work on that. I know it is a beautiful thing to do, and I want to do it. Okay, next strategy, stop replaying the hurt. Heavens to Betsy. This one can be difficult, but that's why it's so important to let it go at the beginning and pray about it. So sometimes we unintentionally keep the pain alive by replaying the moment over and over. Yep, we do indeed. And I still, again, want to say if it's true, grow from it. If it's not, let it go. The healing begins when we allow ourselves to release it instead of reliving it. And another strategy I saw during this research is that journaling is something that is encouraged a lot, and I love it. Just like when we have to write lists to get things out of our head, that is another thing we can do to get out of our head. Journal it, lay it down, put it on paper, and release it. Release it from your heart. Let it go. Oh my goodness, I think the strongest thing to just let to put it on paper because I know the relief I get whenever I have a million things going on in my head of things that I have to do. It's a huge relief. So I I think journaling is very important. And we can acknowledge what was said, but allowing it to live in our hearts permanently is something that we are going to have to know that it is a choice. So you don't have to hold on to every word that is spoken to you. Some words you can acknowledge and you can grow, or if they're not good words that can help you, then you have to release them. You have to release them. You need to pray about it and always go to God for help. And we can pray to our Mother Mary, who is so comforting. We can do the rosary. We're so blessed to have that. We don't have to live our lives without God. And we have our guardian angels next to us the whole time. Hi, guardian angel. Oh my gosh. The more I get closer to God, the more I learn about my faith, the more blessed I feel. Next time, I want to talk about why certain words affect us so deeply and what those emotional triggers may be showing us. So, this week, protect your hearts, not by closing them, but by being wise about what you allow to stay there. Thank you so much for being here today, and I hope to see you again in a week. God bless you.